What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be updating my cubics. And this deck I'm actually really excited for because this deck actually really never has to technically touch an extra deck to make this deck work. This deck came out when Dark Side of the Dimensions, the most epic Yu-Gi-Oh movie ever, came out. And I really loved this deck ever since, and I actually built it as soon as the movie came out. I actually built it before the movie came out. Like when the movie pack was released, I built this, and I've kept it ever since. So if you guys haven't built it, it's pretty cheap to build. I really recommend it. And before we get into the deck profile, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and tell me what you think of this video. And comment down below. And don't forget to hit that bell that's right about there, somewhere in that general region. But let's get into it and see what I'm playing. So, first off, always must play 3 copies of Crimson Nova, the Dark Cubic Lord. He's really good. He cannot be normal summoned or set. He must be special summoned from your hand by revealing 3 cubic cards in your hand with different names. So we play a lot of different names in this deck. He is the main boss of the entire deck, and you're going to make him every single game. He's unaffected by other monster effects who has less attack than he does, and when this card attacks and destroys a monster by battle, you can activate this effect. He can attack again in a row, which is really good, once per turn. So he can only attack twice, and during the end phase, this is how you win. During the end phase, each player takes 3,000 life points, and you can only use this effect of him once per turn, which is really good. He inflicts an instant 3k at the end of the turn, which is crazy, and that's when we play a couple of rank 8s in this deck, like Zombie Stein and Hope Harboring, to handle that if we are close to dying, and we have him on the field, so we can get rid of him if we have to. So 3 of him is a must, because he's your big boss monster that you're going to make every game. 3 copies of Duza, the Meteor Cubic Vessel. Duza is kind of like the Foolish Burial deck. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send 1 cubic card from your deck to the hand, or from your deck to the graveyard, excuse me. And once per turn, during either player's turn, if a monster was sent to the graveyard this turn, while this card is face up on the field, you can make this card gain 200 attack for each card with each monster with a different name in your graveyard until the end of the turn, which is really nice. He gains a lot of attack that way because we played a lot of different names. But those are the big main monsters. Then we play a Buster Gunniel. Buster Gunniel, all the rest of the cubics that I'm going to show you have special requirements and make their attacks go up. Buster Gunniel comes out at 3,000, and he requires 3 tribute. He requires sending 3 cubic monsters that you control with the graveyard. We don't make these a lot. Basically, we just use them for the names in the hand. And he can attack up to 3 times, which is really good. But he comes out at a 3k beater. He's really good. He's the only one of them that I would actually consider making. And it's pretty easy to get 3 cubics on the field. Then I play one in Endora Doomvolt, the Cubic Emperor. He requires 3 cubic monsters. Again, his effect is kind of irrelevant because we're not going to use him that much. So I really don't even get into him. Then we play one Blade Garuda. Blade Garuda is, again, it's kind of the 2. He only requires 2 cubics from the field. He goes up to 2,000 attack, and in Endora Doom, he goes up to 24, I believe. But Blade Garuda, he's decent because this card can make a second attack during each battle phase, and when this card destroys a monster by battle, you can target up to 3 Vjoms in the graveyard, and if you do send this card to the graveyard, and then if you do special summon them, they start getting into that effect. They all have that effect. The 2s and the 3s have the effect that they can special summon 3 Vjoms from the graveyard, which helps us with link plays quite a lot. And then Valken, I don't even know. He lets us, he comes out at just 1,600, but he requires 2, and if this card is special summoned from the hand, you inflict 800 points of damage to your opponent. At the end of the damage step, if this card battled, you can target 3 Vjom, the Cubic Seed, in your graveyard, and send this card to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon them. So he's really good. In Terra Doom, I believe, inflicts only 800, which kind of sucks. He's kind of the bad one of the bunch. He looks really good, but he's really not. Then I play one of the Cubic Kings. The Cubic King, some people I see play a bunch of these because he's really easy to summon, and he comes out at 800 attack, and if he special summon, you inflict 800 points of damage to your opponent, which is pretty good. And at the start of the damage step, if this card battled, you can, or the end of the damage step, after this card battled, you can send it to the graveyard and then target 2 V-Joms in the grave and then special summon them, which is nice because it can get you again into some link plays. One Dark Garnix, the Cubic Beast. If he's special summon, you can send a cubic card you control to the grave. Both of these have the effect that if you send one cubic card you control or one cubic monster you control to the grave, you can special summon them, and then if they battle, then you can special summon 2 V-Joms and then send them to the grave, which is pretty good. Getting past that, we play always 3 V-Joms because there's so many combos with V-Jom. I hear him pronounce V-Jom and Vijam. I don't know. I always call him V-Jom. He cannot be destroyed by battle, and at the end of the damage step, he's crazy good, by the way. He cannot be destroyed by battle, and at the end of the damage step, if this card battled an opponent's monster, you can place this card face up in your spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell. And if you do, place a cubic counter on the monster that battled this card. Cubic counters make it so the opponent's monster cannot attack, and also their effects are negated. And if this card is treated as a continuous spell card by the effect, during your main phase, you can special summon this card back to your field, which is really, really good and really, really cool. I really like V-Jom. Then for the final 3 monsters, we play 3 Summoner Monk. I'm glad that they took this to 3. I never thought I'd see it happen, but it happened. So it's like we're playing 3 extra copies of Duza. That's why we play these extra ones, is so we can use Duza to send like Cubic Wave and Karma and Unification of the Cubic Lords to the grave. So that's it. I kind of didn't want to get too into these guys right here because they're not as important as this right here. Like, these are the important ones. So that's it for the monsters. Let's get into the spells. And some of you guys might disagree with me, and that's okay. But I usually just focus on getting him out. Crimson Nova is beast. So then we play 3 Cubic Waves. Cubic Wave is kind of how I win usually. You can target a cubic monster you control, and 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, half the opponent's monster's attack, and double the attack of the monster you control. So you can literally make him a 6k beater. It's a 2-card combo that you summon him and then activate this, and he becomes a 6k beater that can attack twice. And if your opponent can't stop it, then you win. And all the cubic monster, or all the cubic spells and traps have effects that you can banish them. And this one's particular banish effect is you can banish this card from your graveyard and any number of cubic monsters from your graveyard. Then target face-up monsters your opponent controls and give them cubic counters, which makes them where they're not able to attack and their effects are negated, which is pretty cool. And you can banish it at any time, which is really, really good. Then we play 3 copies of Cubic Karma. Karma is the searcher of the deck besides Duza. Duza sends Karma. Karma gets banished, you search. But if you're gonna activate Karma, its effect is when this card is activated, you can target 1 cubic monster you control, except V-Jom, and send any number of V-Joms from your hand and or deck to the grave, which is really good because it thins the deck and it starts getting your plays rolling. And if this card, then that monster gains 800 attack for each V-Jom sent to the graveyard. And during your opponent's turn, if V-Jom is special summoned by the effect of a cubic monster, send this card to the graveyard. And if you do, half your opponent's life points, which is nuts. It is totally nuts. If you can get a V-Jom out, and you can get this on the field, you can literally half your opponent's attack points. Stupid easy. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 cubic monster from your deck to your hand, which is really, really, really good. This card is nuts. Cubic Karma makes the deck work. Then we play 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods to send our spells and traps to the graveyard to kind of get our plays rolling. 1 Reasoning because they're all different levels, and the only one that we're really going to summon off of this, because all of these cannot be special summoned except by their own effects. or cannot be normal summoned or set. The one we're going to summon is our Duzas, or even potentially our Vjoms or Summoner Monks. That's the only thing we can actually summon off of Reasoning. So we don't really care if we send a bunch of stuff to grave, because you're going to send either your waves or your unifications or your karmas or stuff like that to make it really, really good. Then 2 reoccurring nightmares, because Vjom and Crimson Nova both have 0 defense, so you're going to target 2 of them in the graveyard, add them to your hand, then special summon out your Crimson Nova. 2 Twin Twisters. Again, I say this in every video, you can play anything you want in this position because it's just spell and trap removal position. Play Cosmic Cyclones, Galaxy Cyclones, MSTs, whatever you got, play it. I recommend Twin Twisters. Then 2 Chalice, because I wanted to gate monster effects to a T, and it can help out a lot to have just a quick Chalice. I know you have Wave, but you don't always get off Wave. It just helps. 2 Lance to protect our Dark Cubic Lord. He really needs it. And then one of my spicy techs is Contract with Dawn 1000. When this card is activated, both players lose 1,000 life points. And if they do, they draw a card. Then every card that they draw and their hands must stay revealed, period. So I get to see everything you've got that you're going to throw up against me. And then neither player can normal summon or set, which is really cool as long as they have a spell card that is revealed. And I don't care if I'm going to keep revealing. So that's fine. Because I'm going to reveal a bunch of my cubics to special summon out my Crimson Nova anyways. And I don't really care because there's not a lot of stuff that I can be stopped with. So then for the final 3 cards in the main deck, we play 3 copies of Unification of the Cubic Lords. Now this card is nuts. You can fusion summon 1 Cubic Fusion monster, which is this guy right here. He's the only one, and he takes 3 of the Crimson Novas, which is crazy. But its real effect that you get off is if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish it to special summon 1 level 4 or lower cubic monster from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. And if you do, it cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects, which is super, super, super good. But you have to have a face-up cubic monster leave the field in order to be able to banish this, which is still easy to do. Foolish Burial Goods, you always want to kind of keep one of these in the grave because you're going to get a Dooza on the field and it's going to leave the field at some point. Then for the extra deck, we're playing 1 Crimson Nova because you're never going to make more than 1 Crimson Nova. 1 Zombie Stein. By the way, I will mention, this card is nuts. It cannot be summoned except by fusion summon and cannot be special summoned by other ways. It cannot be targeted and it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. When this card declares an attack, half your opponent's life points right off the bat, which is nuts. And when this card destroys a monster by battle, you can activate this effect. This card can make a second attack during the battle phase. If you take effect damage, your opponent takes equal to the amount you took, which is crazy. So if you take 3k off of this, and this is on the field, which is rare, they're going to take 6k, which is even crazier. This is going to end the game if you get it off. 1 Zombie Sign because it's a 45 beater. 1 copy of 38 because we can make it with 2 Crimson Novas. The Utopia the Lightning Engine, which is a Utopia Prime, and a Lightning. That's why we play that. Baguska because it's arguably, again, the best rank 4 in the entire game. Tornado Dragon because we can pop spell and traps. Honor Arc because I'm going to steal stuff with it. Heartland Draco, because if I'm going to inflict 3k, I might as well inflict 2,000 too. Castael, because it bounces stuff. And then for the Link monsters that we're playing this deck, we play a Borreload, because we can. Deco Talker, the new Magician Link monster, and a Proxy Dragon. Again, you don't need this. You really don't need this, because you're going to win with this. I cannot emphasize that. That's why I ran through so fast through the extra deck. You don't have to play an extra deck with this deck. Now, I would recommend having at least 1 Crimson Nova Trinity because you can make it, and I recommend having at least a rank 8, but you don't need anything else. I mean, a couple of rank 4s, maybe, generic rank 4s, that's great. Utopia the Lightning because you can make it 5k beater. But that's it for the cubic deck. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I really enjoyed doing this deck profile. This deck is really weird because like your opponent never really knows how to counter it because they don't see it enough. Like I feel like that's why people don't know how to play around this, is because they don't know how to deal with it. Because it's so weird and wonky. Like, this deck doesn't play like normal. It's really weird. But anyways, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell down below so you can kind of get some more notifications. And I will see you guys in the next video. DarkArmedDuelist out. See you later, guys.